This episode is brought to you by Trailer Park Yard Games, where over 28 games are delivered directly to your party. We park the trailer, you party.
Wait, we just heard a voice we have not heard on the podcast before.
Yes, that's my man.
Bill, you've heard me. I'm the guy in the back giggly.
Yeah.
or coughing.
That's
and
usually
sneezing.
about every time I say something, right?
Okay, I will say you do have a little bit of a Muppet laugh, but I love it. I love it. It's almost like a mad scientist Muppet laugh.
One of my favorite parts of the podcast was when you made a joke about your forehead, and I laughed too much, and you were like, "Why are you laughing so much?" You need to Tom. That if you can hear the laughter, that's Tom laughing way too much.
Way too hard.
At the fact that my forehead was big or something.
Yes. You have no forehead.
What are you talking about? What's that up here?
Let's have a chat, talk this and that with PB and Jaisy.
Hello, and welcome to the PB and Jaisy show.
Hi.
My very beautiful friend to the left.
Oh, I'm Bill Statham.
And my other beautiful friend to the right.
Hey, it's me.
That's
Jaisy.
Jaisy. So today it's just us three, and we're going to probably force Tom, which Tom, if you have not met Tom, it's
He's my
Jaisy's
baby bear.
first husband.
My baby.
Her baby daddy.
My sexy man.
Her big daddy, whatever she called. I don't know
All-
what y'all. Do you have any
all those
nicknames
are
for
true.
him that you can repeat?
So Tom's legal name is Stents, and no one calls him Stents except for
You
me.
do.
Me.
So
I'll call him
you
Stents.
have to be a DJ to be
Wait,
close.
we
And I'll
just heard
call
a
him-
voice we have not heard on the podcast
Yes,
before.
that's my man.
Bill, you've heard me. I'm the guy in the back giggly.
Yeah.
Or coughing
That's
and
usually
sneezing.
about every time I say something, right?
Okay, I will say you do have a little bit of a Muppet laugh, but I love it. I love it. It's almost like a mad scientist Muppet laugh.
One of my favorite parts of the podcast was when you made a joke about your forehead, and I laughed too much, and you were like, "Why are you laughing so much?" You need to Tom. That if you can hear the laughter, that's Tom laughing way too much.
Way too hard.
At the fact that my forehead was big or something.
Yes. You have no forehead.
What are you talking about? What's that up here?
No, I don't know.
Well, no, he's got a good forehead.
Wait, it's like half the
It's a
size
normal
of
size.
Sarah's forehead, so I can
He's got
see
way
why she says that.
less real estate
Maybe
than
you're like
Sarah, if you just did a bang thing, I think you'd be good to go because
Yeah.
I
feel
don't want
like
to call
I have
Jace
a-
out, but she's got a big forehead
I
too.
feel like I have a big forehead, but I'm self-conscious of it. So I've had bangs since
Okay.
I was born.
I'm
with
gonna have to
bangs,
find
basically.
a picture of me. I tried to do bangs in 7th grade. It did not work out for me or my face. So yeah.
Well, we can ask
You just
your
embrace it.
mom. We can ask
But
Andrew
boys
about
have it
Embrace
pretty.
the
Boys
forehead.
have it pretty easy because it doesn't really matter. And y'all actually, I think guys get more attractive as they age. Where I feel like women really have to struggle more. You know, like the gray and the beard. Like
It's more. It's like more of a distinguished look. They just look
It's
more.
like fine wine.
But you guys get makeup though.
That's true.
Tom, nowadays, guys.
But you have to
can
know how to
makeup.
use
It's
it, so
kinda
there's
scary.
that too.
That's the problem.
It's not always a good thing if you don't know how to
Knowing
use
what
it.
to do.
Smoky eye.
My mom.
I learned that on the podcast.
Smoky eyes?
Yeah, Whitney Barth
Oh yeah.
with her smoky eye.
I guess I do remember
Well,
that.
because my mom the other day, like we're friends with a lot of the same people on Facebook, and I won't call this person out because she probably listens to this this podcast. But my mom was like, Sarah, what's up with her eyebrows? And I was like, what are you talking about? She goes, they're so big, like they just are all colored in and they're dark and they're really big. I'm like, I don't know. That's what some people do. Like they just have.
That's the new trend now. The bushy eyebrows, where they comb them.
Which
out.
I had bushy eyebrows, and then the whole
They weren't cool at
there
the
was
time?
the over plucking stage
Oh, yeah.
that we went through in high school.
Tom, what's
So-
happening?
So JC will come like once a month, right before the podcast. She'll get her eyebrows done, or if we go to a wedding, and she's like, "What do you think about my eyebrows?" And I'm like, "Oh, they're great. I don't notice any
That's
difference."
the thing, though. Like
at all.
I feel the most just like 'cause I don't wear much makeup. I don't like on the daily. I'm not right now. I am because I'm gonna be on a podcast, but I normally don't. But I feel like after I get my eyebrows done, I just feel like I'm ready to go.
So my mom, we both had huge eyebrows. Of course, mine, like I said, overplucked, but my mom has really big eyebrows. But they're really light. She's blonde, she was blonde. And so one time when I was in high school, I convinced her, like, go with me and just get your eyebrows plucked. They'll trim them up. Well, they took only from underneath. And so my mom looked surprised for like 2 months. Like it just looked like she was walking around like this. And so she hated it. She never went back. She let them grow back.
So my mom has really fine hair. So like if you look at like my mom's arms and stuff like that, it looks like she has like no hair. So her eyebrows are very fine. So my mom has always like drawn in her eyebrows and stuff like that. Now recently she started doing like the microblading where it's almost like it'll
Or like the
permanent-
threading. Do y'all know what threading is?
I have no idea what microblading.
That's what I do. I get
or
my eyebrows
threading.
threaded. But no, it looks like she has no eyebrows if she doesn't. Microblading is where they like, it's almost like a tint thing, almost like a
Oh,
like
don't
a
they
permanent,
like almost like it's like
a
middle
permanent
cut,
drawing.
right?
It's like permanent drawing in your eyebrows where it looks
Okay.
natural. So, oh, this is so funny. So like a while ago, my mom would always just like draw them in with like an eyebrow pencil. So one day, I'm like in high school. My brother was probably in college, and we were supposed to be going somewhere, probably like Sam's Club or something. And my mom just quickly like puts on her eyebrows and gets in the car. And she's getting onto my brother so bad about like his beard just being crazy. She's like, you need to like, clean it up.
You
like,
have to do the accent if you're going to
You
do
look
it.
so crazy. You look like a terrorist. We're going to Sam's, and you're all over the place. And so he just looks at her and he goes, Mom, at least I don't have Nike checks for eyebrows.
Oh, no.
Is he still alive?
Because I guess she just quickly just did it, and her eyebrows did look bad that day. And you could tell my mom just like yelled at him for a second, and then you could tell she kind of got self-conscious.
Flipped
Then
the
she's
mirror
like,
down.
she's slowly like just wiping them off and redrawing them.
Well, I don't know how we got on eyebrows.
Yeah, I'm not
but
really sure.
For the sake of our testosterone in the room, Bill, tell us what we're going to talk about today, because I think this
You
is
had a
kind of
good
your
topic.
your baby, your child.
Well, one of the things that I think we all encounter, and I want to hear from all of you, is what happens when you encounter a wall. So we've all started careers, and at various stages in our career, and most of us are in real estate. Tom's not, but at
He
various.
used to be in real estate.
Used to
Tom
be in
used to
real
tell
I was one of those
timeshare.
guys that sold timeshare.
Back in
I'm sorry.
Florida.
I apologize to everybody on the podcast right now and anybody listening.
So you might be the example of what I'm going to talk about, but literally we encounter on a regular basis people that will start doing something and they will just hit a wall, and they think that I can't go any further. I've got to quit. I need to go do something else. So one day they're a real estate professional, the next day they're working for the trash department.
And we see that a
no
lot.
problem with the trash department.
We see that a lot within our office, especially in the pandemic. A lot of people that just didn't want to weather the storm, or maybe they couldn't weather the storm, and then they just jump ship.
Well, I think in the pandemic, what happened is a lot of people sat down in front of TV that they hadn't sat down in front of, and they started watching how easy real estate is. All these shows that showed, $1 million real estate agent, or, they showed them laying by the pool and getting rich because they simply didn't want to work. But that's certainly not the case of successful folks. And what ends up happening is you end up getting to a wall. In fact, I'll relate a story, and I should have told Sarah I was going to do this before I started, but I'm going to do it anyway.
I ain't scared of you, Bill.
So
Bring it.
Sarah and I have worked together for a dozen plus years, but about 12 years ago, we're sitting in a workroom, and I was talking to Sarah and somebody else about goals. And Sarah's has, for those of you that don't know, she has amazing success today, and probably.
This is going to be my favorite episode.
Yeah, it is. It is. I'm just going to tell you, she's one of the top real estate agents in Tarrant County. Certainly in the top 5, if not number 1, but she's way up there. But so a dozen years ago, we're sitting in a workroom, and she looks at me, and I'm trying to convince her to set her goals to be a stretch. And she's like, I just don't know how I'm going to get to 19 or 20 deals this year. That just seems like so much work. Remember that?
I do. And that was probably about the time that we had a foreclosure notice on our house, and I had to borrow gas money to get to work to go show a house.
You mean real life happens? It's not just easy?
Well, that's what, those memes you see online that says like what my mom thinks I do and what the world thinks I do and what I really do. Like it was, a lot of people thought, oh, it must be so fun to go show houses. Like, no, like people suck. They're really mean to you. You waste all your time and you miss time with family, and then they don't buy something, and then you wake up tomorrow and you're unemployed again. You got to start all over.
So wait a second. I bet you there's a lot of people listening to this that think that every Friday I write every single person in our company a check.
No, Ann writes you a check on Fridays.
Oh, okay. But a lot of people don't
know how we
understand
get paid,
that this is 100% commission-based work.
Yeah.
Yep.
So-
you get paid how much work you put in. And
For sure.
a lot of people think real estate agents, oh, you're a realtor? Okay. They think that we just have these crazy salaries, like you just you just put your name with a brokerage and all of a sudden you're just making money. And that's not the truth of it. I get a lot of DMs from people that will be like, hey, I'm really interested in getting into real estate. Like, what can you tell me about it? And they're like, oh, I just kind of want to do it part-time. Like they have like some crazy profession. Like I work from 7 o'clock to 7 p.m., but I feel like I could fit it in. And I'm like, okay.
So I was talking.
It's possible.
Yeah. Someone came in the other day to see me and they wanted to be an agent, and they're sitting down in my office and we're talking, and they're like, I've got this job and it takes all day long and I'm really, really tired when I get home, but I've got about 30 minutes a day that I can put into this. So I want to put that in so that I can get out of my job and go into full-time real estate. And I was like, dude, you need to like smoke a joint or something because that's not reality. It's not going to work. But back to where I was going on this. So each of you, Sarah and Jaisy, each of you have encountered a wall. You've got to a point many times where you're like, I'm just going to stop what I'm doing. I'm not sure it's worth it. So Sarah, let's start with you. You've been doing this the longest. How'd you get past that?
Well, the first thing I thought of when you brought that up, and I think we've all heard the story that the man that was digging for gold or whatever it was, and you can see the gold over here, and he's chopping away or axing away at the rock, and then he gets within inches, but he's just decided he's had enough. And the story was that you never know how close you are to succeeding, and a lot of people will give up right before. For me, I know that anytime I feel the stress that I'm about to break down, that means I'm about to have a breakthrough. So if I'm really struggling with something and I'm not seeing the results, and I should be, there's things that we know make us money and that make us successful, and I'm doing all the things and I'm not getting the results. When I'm about to break down, that's when I know it's coming. Like it's coming. Just keep going, keep pushing. And it's hard to remember that. It's hard. I relate it to getting on the treadmill every day and not seeing the scale move. It's like, well, why would I do that if I'm not seeing the results? But we all know how that stuff works. You just have to keep going. So I don't know that I have any good advice with that other than just make sure what you're doing is the right thing. But once you do know that, keep going because it'll happen, you know?
Well, I'm gonna come back to you and ask you more about that in a second. But Jaisy, you've experienced it before, and just you've been in real estate a few years now, and I know you've experienced it because we've talked. So how do you push through it?
So so when I first got into real estate, my oldest son had just turned 1. And so I was just kind of like, okay, my previous job was something that didn't really have a work-life balance. I always wanted to get into real estate. I've always been in sales. So it just felt natural. And then that was 2019. I had a really good year, 2019. My first year in real estate, I did really great.
You killed it.
And then I got knocked up. Thank you, Tom.
Well, we think, right?
Well, yeah.
We sure?
I don't know.
Okay.
But and so then with that, and then the pandemic happened because that was the end of 2019. So then I'm pregnant and the pandemic is going on. I still had a pretty good beginning of the year, but then it was difficult getting back into it. And then once, my youngest son got a little bit older, there's always that excuse of, my kids are this young, or, I don't have help. I don't have this. I don't have that. And I remember feeling when we finally got our nanny and I was able to get back into work, just feeling like, I feel like nothing is getting accomplished. I feel like I'm coming into work, I'm making calls, I'm writing notes, I'm doing all of these things, but nothing is happening. And Tom and I had a conversation where I was like, I feel like there's just this dry spot. Maybe the industry is just getting too competitive. Maybe I had just had a really good year and it's just not for me. And he was like, no, I feel like, and he was really great about encouraging me. Thank you, by the way, of just, keep doing what you're doing. The field of diamonds that you don't know that you're sitting on. And then all your work starts to pay off, where then it's like yesterday I had such a busy day where it's like 2 listing appointments. You got to show 3 houses and got both of them. Awesome. So it's like you have all of this where you're putting in the work and you don't feel it immediately because this is not an industry where you sign a contract and the very next day you get a paycheck.
Well, and it's a whole, like, we all desire as humans instant gratification. And we think, you put the money in and the Coke comes out. Like, that's how our world operates. And so in sales and in most business, especially if you're on your own, you put the work in and sometimes nothing comes out, or it might not come out for 3 months or 6 months, and that's hard.
Yeah.
So I posted I do a weekly newsletter for everybody, and today I posted an article in the newsletter, and it's about follow-up. And one of the things that doesn't surprise me anymore, but it used to all the time, I would ask somebody, how many people do you have in your database, and are you talking to people, and tell me about that. And I would always get the Sunday school answers. And then I would,
Jesus.
yeah, I got 200 people because I know that's what you want to say, and I'm talking to them every day. Okay, we know that's not true.
I have 200 friends on Facebook.
Yeah. So now tell me how many people you get in your database. And then, so once they go with the high number, they'll come down to a realistic number. And how many times have you talked to them? You've been in real estate now 6 months. We've given you a plan. You should be communicating with them 3-4 times a month. How many times have you talked to them? Once. And you're surprised that you're not having success?
But that's the whole thing. We all know what to do in most situations to succeed or to reach our goals, but doing it is harder.
It is.
And I do want to hear from Tom too on outside of the real estate world. Tell us a little bit about what you do and then how you overcome some of these feelings of I'm just not getting it.
Well, I was in sales forever, my whole life. I was in sales.
Drugs.
Yeah, mostly drugs. But then actually a professional. I did timeshare. I did and I did insurance. And then I was also playing music in a band. That's what the spiky hair is for.
Okay.
And I still, I'm not 40 yet, so I haven't gotten a professional haircut yet. But I'm thinking at 40, that's when I'm going to change it. But so there was a point in my life when I was playing music in Nashville, and I was like, man, I got to do something else because I was Ubering on the weekend, playing music, and I was like, man, I'm getting ready to get married to Jace. I was like, I'm going to be homeless if I don't do something else.
Right.
This ain't working anymore. So I studied really, I got 3 or 4 certifications. I studied for 3 or 4 months. I got 3 certifications.
In 4 months.
Yeah. And then I got a job as an IT guy in Dallas. I lied and used Jaisy's address. And that was my first job. And from there to what I do now, which is a project manager at the university, UTA, go Mavs.
Woo!
Yeah. It took me 3 years. So I went from oh my God, if I don't do something, I'm going to be homeless to becoming a full-time project manager in 3 years just by instead of feeling sad about myself, actually doing something about it.
Mm-hmm. And that's what's different because a lot of people like to wallow in that. Yeah. No, woe is me, there's no jobs out there. If you don't have a job right now, I could go out, and Jaisy and I talked about this the other day, we could leave this office today and go find 3 or 4 jobs if we wanted them. And I hate to hear people with all the signs everywhere saying now hiring.
Yes.
And
well, I'm trying to hire somebody in our Weatherford office, or not me, our manager in Weatherford's trying to hire somebody, having a tremendously hard time getting somebody. We posted a job 3 weeks ago. We've got 7 resumes. It wasn't a year or 2 ago we would post a job, we would have 100 resumes. But Tom, I want to kind of relate what you said there. You knew you had to do something, so you started working and following up on it.
Took action.
You took action, and you took 3 classes and got 3 certifications in 3 months.
Was
or
it
4?
4? Yeah, don't cut them short.
Yeah.
And then real estate agents, they make
chance.
1 phone call. The problem is the average real estate agent only makes 2.5 contacts. And sales don't happen until you made at least 6 contacts and more than likely 20. So, people really have to push through and follow up. Now, do you guys surround yourself with people that'll push you, or do you just push yourself? Do you look in the mirror and go, wow?
I want to hear from Tom on this one.
So I have an identical twin brother, and both of us were going through the same journey.
You? What?
Well,
Does he have spiky hair too?
Yeah, he does. Well, actually, no, he's got blonde spiky hair.
Yeah, he
so
went
it's
through
little
kind of a
different.
midlife crisis.
What do you mean
completely
blonde
platinum
if he's
His name's
identical?
Tony.
He dyes
What's
his
he
hair?
dyed it?
Yeah.
His real
He
name?
went through a midlife crisis and dyed his
Steven.
hair platinum blonde.
So is Steven and Stintz?
Yeah,
Yes.
Steven and Stanton, and then Tom Antonio.
Stan.
Yeah, he goes by Tom, and his twin brother goes by Tony.
Yeah. So same thing. So we both motivated each other because we were in the same same point of life. And I was like, hey man, I picked this Uber drive. I had this Uber fare, and she was an IT technical.
I thought you said an Uber affair. I was like, whoa.
What? This is how you choose to
First
tell
time I
me?
heard about this. But no, she was an IT recruiter, and she gave me the game plan. She was like, "Well, I don't know what you need to do to get into it, but a lot of people that are starting off will get these certifications. So if you do that," I told my brother, I was like, "Hey, Tony, dude, this would be a great idea for you too." And then both of us said he did. We pushed each other, and now my brother is in Orlando. He's a program manager, and he gets paid the big bucks now. So I'm super jealous of him because I was making more money than him for
And
a
you were
while.
the one that like got him into it.
Yeah,
He's
screw
like,
that
"In
kid."
your
Yeah.
residuals?
Yeah.
No residuals coming your way for.
I mean, he takes care of dinner and lunch when I hang
that-
out. I mean, that's something, right?
and
So,
you get to go visit him in Orlando.
yeah.
And he'll help you dye your hair platinum blonde if you want.
Well, I dyed my hair for a little bit. It was like this copper color. And remember when it was red for a little bit?
My mom hated it.
Dude,
My
she
mom
was like, I can't even stand you right now. She literally looked at my face and
I
she
don't
didn't
want
want
to
look.
see your ugly face.
Yeah.
You
Dye
got
it back.
And my mom was right
love
next
it.
to her. My mom didn't say anything. She was just like, because my mom's used to us having like crazy haircuts and stuff.
Yeah.
So she didn't say anything. But my mother-in-law, she didn't want to look at my face and call me ugly in front of everybody.
I love it
She
so
did.
much.
And you know what I did? I went to Party City and I got one of those hair color temporary spray paint things,
Uh-huh.
and I spray painted my hair while she was there.
Like to cover it up or
To
to
cover
make
up
it
the
even
red.
more?
Just so, because I don't want to piss her off, because it was like a what was it?
It was Xander's first birthday.
That's what it was. So everybody was there, and she couldn't, like, she was so pissed. She could not even look at me. So I was like, all right, just so I don't like piss this lady off, and I let her have a cornea. Whatever. Is it cornea?
No,
Oh,
Courtney's
that's
your
your
eye.
eye.
What is cornea?
You don't want her to have coriander.
Cornea? What is that thing when you have a heart condition?
A conniption? Oh, a cardiac arrest?
Wait, you know what it is. So
Yeah.
because then I was spraying my hair for 3 days straight.
Coronary.
There it is.
Yeah.
There it is. I knew I was close.
You were close. I didn't want her to have corn on the cob.
I didn't want her to get Corningware. I didn't want that to
I didn't want her to have Corian countertops.
So Jaisy, Sarah, what do you do? Who do you surround yourself with to push through the?
I have a good friend who, if I call her and I'm having an issue, she'll be like, hold on. Do you want me to just hear you out? Or do you want me to give you my opinion?
Oh, that's a good friend.
Because that's true. Sometimes you just want to just say it and for your friend just be like, man, that sucks, dude. Yeah, you're right. And sometimes you need someone to be like, all right, listen.
Mm-hmm.
This is what you could have done better. This is where you were wrong. And I think it's important to not just surround yourself by the yes men. Sometimes it's good to have those things. You want to feel
Yes.
good about yourself.
Yes.
Thanks, Sarah.
Well, you know, it's funny you say that. So
I love being devil's advocate, by the way.
Yeah,
Yes.
she does. I've got a business coach. So last night I had a really tough meeting that involved one of our managers and one of our agents in another office that I had to go help with. And I got done with the meeting. It took about an hour and a half, and I have a lot of interesting meetings. This was a tough meeting. And so I got in the car on the way home and I called my coach. And he answered the phone. And I said, hey, I don't want any advice. I'm going to vent. Because I don't have anybody else I can vent to. It's not like I can come into the office and say, let me tell you what this person did. And
You're the one that everyone else goes to.
yeah. So that's why I have this coach, and it's very good because he'll listen to me. And if I want advice, I'll ask him in advance. Hey, I'm going to want an opinion on what to do. But in this case, I just wanted to vent. So I was about 20 minutes from the house, and for about 19 minutes, I just vented. And when I was done, I felt so much better.
Oh, yeah.
And, he's a great guy, and he was able to say, what if you did this or this? I said, I thought you weren't going to give me advice. He said, I'm going to give it to you anyways because that's what you paid me for.
Well, and I think for me, like, it's been huge to remove some people from my life. So as much as I try to surround myself with good people, there's always those people that you realize they seemed good, but I think that they're causing, negativity, or they're bringing me down, or they're not really giving me good advice. And it's not necessarily like, I'm like Jaisy, I want someone to tell me the truth, but I think my heart of hearts, if once I realize like that's probably not what maybe the Bible would say or what my parents might advise, like I want it to be good advice. Not every advice is good or biblical or whatever. So I think trying to narrow that down on whose opinion I get. And I think we've talked about it before, but having a list of people that you do care about their opinions. That should be maybe 3 or 4 or 5, But so often we let everyone have access, and we say, well, so and so, oh my gosh, Pentecost.
Getting in Pentecostal.
You know,
Hallelujah.
so and so over here said that I was fat and ugly and stupid and terrible at my job. Well, who cares? They're not on my list. I don't care what they think. As long as my mom and daddy and Michael and whoever else loves me, I'm good.
Me, I love you.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
So do I.
But I think just realizing who's the vampire, who's sucking the life out of you, who's giving you life.
Yep.
I think that's huge.
That brings up a lot about social media because, a lot of people get on social media and the only thing they're doing.
Bill has a TikTok, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Officially.
I do have a TikTok now. I
Watch
have
him
no
dance.
idea what to do with it. So we'll be seeing what happens
We're
by the time
hoping
this posts.
we're hoping to streamline it to be about Airstreams.
Streamline it to be about
Streamline
Airstreams. Okay, maybe, who knows? But people get on social media and they're vying for likes and they want people to like what they're doing and they care about what other people are saying, and it's really
interesting
silly.
because I have noticed that some of the people that are the most vocal about making sure that everyone knows their opinion and this is going on in the world, well, I want to make sure that everyone thinks that I know everything about this subject. Those are the same people that have the issues like making a call to a stranger
Right.
to get like business. It's like, oh, I don't know, I don't want to inconvenience them or I feel awkward calling them, but you have no problem putting all your business, all the opinions
All your
out there
dirty
on
drawers.
social media. It
But
makes
they're
sense.
really smart because, I've noticed with these people, especially over the last couple of years, they're dang smart. Because,
About every subject.
Yeah, because a few years ago they were constitutional lawyers and they knew everything about the Constitution, and then we got a pandemic and
They knew everything about COVID.
They were like
they were all
doctors.
scientists.
The best part of this is I know nothing, and I know I
Yeah.
know nothing, and I don't. Ignorance is bliss. I
it
don't want
is
to know.
bliss. It's great.
I don't want to know. Well, and I think too, like just the environment that we've created here. Hi, Tom. Oh, he was telling me 5 minutes. I thought he was being real nice.
Tom, you have details from the lockbox
Oh
story.
yeah, you'd be thinking on that.
He's got some crazy.
But the people we surround ourselves here at the office, I think for the majority of it, we've created a really cool culture, and
We have.
I think we've learned to create some boundaries and stuff too, and I think
Yeah.
that's huge.
Well, and I think that as a group, one of the things that we do is we're really good at helping people make the right decision. So a lot of times the right decision is for them to do other things. And it's okay.
Where this isn't the right.
Yeah, it
spot
doesn't
for
mean
you.
we don't love you. It doesn't mean that, we don't want to talk to you. It just means that this is probably not the right thing for you to be doing.
Right.
And that is okay to realize. However, if they want to push through it and they want to do the work,
Is that
that's
your leg?
good.
Yeah,
You know, that,
Really
He's always, so he used to be a
you
drummer.
itchy?
So all the time, like when we were first dating, like we would be at dinner or something like that. And I'm like, what is,
I think
because
you
you know, like
need
you put your
lotion.
hand on your significant other's leg and my hand is like always moving the
I think
legs.
that's a good introduction for the session that he's going to do. Tales from the Lockbox. Let's throw it to Tom.
It's so much pressure, but I was thinking about this. So when I transitioned over to IT, I got a job in Texas doing application support for a point of sale company. I used to say a POS company,
POS.
and somebody was like a piece of no. It's a point of sale company.
Yeah, most
But-
of them are POSs
Yes.
though.
Yeah, well, that's true because
Yeah.
the number of calls that we got, it was always like, dude, what the heck? What is this thing? But one of the customers, he had a number of restaurants because we would deal with restaurateurs that are business owners. And I because I have sales experience, I'm pretty good on the phone. So I'm gabbing it out. I'm talking trash with people on the phone. So it's not your traditional like IT guy experience.
Right.
So I would handle a lot of the escalations. And this guy called me. His name was Mr. Richard. I'll never forget this guy. He was so crazy, and I thought he was trolling everybody because I was like, there's no way there's a human being that's actually was born that
behaving
acts
this
like
way.
this. There's no way. But this guy was like, he would say stuff, and if I would try to say anything back, I was like, hey, I'm speaking right now. Wait for the dramatic pause. So I would have to count in my head 1 1,000, 2 1,000. After a pause, 3 1,000, and then I would say something. And everything would be like this whole conversation.
Mr. Richard.
And every time he would call, they would transfer him to me.
directly.
Oh
It's
my
Tom's
God.
friends calling again.
So
This
you're,
guy.
You know the
you're
name,
an IT,
but you
so
know
you're
the
gonna love
nickname
this.
for Richard.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, now I'm not in
Lived up to
IT.
his
So
name.
I work for an IT department, but I do project management for the IT department.
Right, but you're gonna love this. So I'm gonna change the names to protect the innocent. But I have 2 agents, and this is
Agents.
agents.
2 Asians.
Yeah, and this is about a decade ago, and they were just learning where the internet was. So they had signed into what we call a CRM, customer relationship management program, for the first time. And they called tech support because they needed help. Let's just call them Mary and Teresa. And they called into tech support because they needed help. And the tech support guy said, hey, everything's working well. All you need to do is press the any key. And here's what I hear. My office is right outside the workroom. There's no daggum any key. There's no daggum any key on my keyboard. There's no any key. And I thought one of them was going to have a stroke.
A coronary.
Coronary.
So it was awesome. Maybe we should level up.
All right, so I have the level up today, and I feel like this quote really resonates with what we're talking about. It says, a setback does not erase your progress. Setbacks are inevitable in everything that you do, especially as you're learning a new career, learning, I don't know, even how to be a parent. But that doesn't mean that you didn't learn anything along the way. So when you keep going from a setback, it's not easier, it's just that you're stronger to push through it. So if you are encountering a setback, keep pushing through,
Preach.
analyze what you're doing and keep going. And so
I like that.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks for joining us. Isn't he so
Thanks for
cute?
having me.
Look
We
at him, he's
need
so
to have him
cute.
more often, by the way.
He's a smart
Well, he's here
guy.
every week. We just don't talk to him. All right. Thanks, Tom. Thanks for listening. Thanks
Please
for tuning in.
Like, share, subscribe. Come hang out with us next week. And with that, PB and Jaisy,
We out.
we out.
Just had a chat, talk this and that with PB and Jaisy.